Hi, thanks very much for clicking on the link for the Idle Chat series for the American Bar Association, Section for Dispute Resolution. My name is Natalie, but more importantly, you should meet my friend and colleague, Dan. Dan, how are you?
I'm good, Natalie. It's really good to be here. I appreciate being here. How are you?
I'm doing really well, and I appreciate that you spend your valuable time with me in this not at all serious medium of idle chat.
I wouldn't know what to do at a really serious medium anyway.
I think you'd be just fine.
Yeah.
Dan, heavy hitting question right off the top.
Yeah.
Spicy or mild?
Not spicy to the point that it upsets one's stomach, but always spicy.
All right. I've
You?
been
You?
forewarned.
You?
Uh, I tend toward the spicy end of the spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It reminds me, you ever go, it seems most prevalent with Thai restaurants. They'll give you a choice of 1 through 10 kind of thing. At least the ones I've been to. Definitely not 10 or 9, but 5, 6 range. Yeah.
it is fair to say that there are toddlers in Thailand who have a higher tolerance for spice than I do. But I still like a little kick. So, Dan, next question.
Sure.
Is it sort of quote unquote the weekend on Friday night, or does the weekend start Saturday morning?
Um, I'm 61 years old, and I've been in this business my entire life. And I'm pretty much of the mindset, raised 3 children already who are now grown, one of whom works with me, the other ones who I'm very close with. But there is no weekend, honestly. For me, the way my life has evolved, I'd say in the last particularly um 8, 10 years is there really is no weekend. I'm not one of those people that gets to a point that looks forward to the weekend. It's just a continuing mass of time. Honestly, that sounds really hokey, but and maybe I've already drifted past what your question was, but I really don't have a weekend. And like I find at my age, I'm not slowing down. I just continue to evolve. And the best vacations are like other than like, okay, we're going to take a chunk of time to do something purposefully. Most of my vacations are like 3, 4 day weekends. So, but they could happen in the middle of the week.
The joys of being an entrepreneur.
Very much so. I'm again blessed beyond. Yeah. How about you? How about you? When does your weekend start?
Uh, like you, I don't really have a blocked time for a weekend. It also depends on my husband's calendar, our travel calendar, what my clients need. So my weekend might be a Tuesday, Wednesday. It could be a Sunday, Monday. It's an mediator's answer. It depends.
Yeah, and like you hit it on the head. Being an entrepreneur, I am blessed beyond to have that flexibility to live this way. Right? It's like anything else. It comes with a sense of a real sense of responsibility and obligation to work. But the flexibility. Yeah, I'm blessed. Yeah.
It is a luxury, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Uh, Dan,
Yep.
when you're headed out to a restaurant, do you read the reviews before you go? Or you just kind of trust the vibe and somebody else's opinion about the place?
That's a real good question and it's appropriate because my favorite spot to travel to, luxury spot is to go to Italy. And with my partner, we have this debate all the time because candidly, I look at reviews. I like to sort of get a feel for what other people have to say who have already experienced it. I think that's just good, like due diligence. But um, I've been told it's not the more organic, natural, fun way to do it. So it really depends. We were at Longwood Gardens this past weekend, and I totally went based on a review to dinner nearby Kennett Square, and it was spot on. So yeah, right? It's like we only know so much. We only have so much time to consume so much information. So why not trust the people, find the mediums that you can trust for information to base your decisions on. Yeah.
exactly right. I no, I think that's the way to do it.
How do they
Uh,
do it in France? How do they do it in France? Or how do you
so
do it in
in
France?
in France, we tend to kind of follow our noses and then look at the review. So when you think you've stumbled across a real, a real treasure, as we're standing outside, we'll quick open up the reviews and see if our intuition is right.
Okay. Kind of a blended approach. But it's funny. So I love food in general and all kinds of food, almost all cuisine. But I do like Italian food and I do try to cook when I can. And my litmus test for a good Italian restaurant, it's so primitive. It's like my fast food is like a really good chicken parm. So I usually, when I'm trying an Italian restaurant for the first time, I'll ask them in detail how they prepare their chicken parm, and that kind of sets the stage for the rest of the experience. But anyway,
Right. I think in France, if you questioned the chef, you'd be invited to leave.
yeah,
Thanks for coming. Dan, do
yeah.
you ever have I suppose it's a universal challenge of catching an earworm? You just have a song that's stuck in your head.
I think it's either a disease or it's something that happened to me in childhood. For whatever reason, and please don't put me on the spot because then I'll choke, but I have this habit when I'm in conversation, I hear words and I immediately think of a song, and there's no particular genre. It could be all over the place. But your question is, is there a song in particular that I pick up?
Do you
Absolutely
ever
not.
no?
I
Just
I am
rotate.
I am all over the place, and as you can tell, it's like things hit me. I would say the beauty of music, right? Music kind of cements an experience. If you're whatever the experience is, if there was music attached to it, that tends to really kind of bind that experience and memory in your mind that much better. And yeah, I have a lot of music in my head. Yeah, I always joke, if gosh, if my mind ever leaves me or starts to wane, I could be dangerous. But no, how about you? Why you have a particular song or genre that if
I
you
I don't, it only affects me, for example, when my daughter was little and you would get those children's songs or the lyrics to cartoons stuck
yeah,
on repeat.
sure.
And then again with my granddaughter, the same, Baby Shark gets stuck. And then I have to actively go find my own personal playlist, put in my earbuds to kill the worm.
Uh-huh. Well, interesting. I still do this with my kids. I remember their children, the music we played that was children appropriate back then, and something will happen. I'll be in a conversation, and one of those songs will come back to me. Has it happened for you that one of those songs has come back to you more recently, and then you bring it up to your daughter, you bring it up to the person that you played the song with, who has no recollection of it?
I think that for the most part, no. The exception would be if there's been a recent remix, and my granddaughter will come into the room and say, "Mammy, Poppy, Mommy, Daddy, you have to listen to this. It's the best new song ever." And we listen to it and say, "Yeah, but they're just playing new words over an old Prince soundtrack. That's not new." So, she thinks it's totally new, but the oldies in the room have heard it for a minute.
That's
So,
beautiful. Yeah.
Dan, next question.
Yep.
You do not have to answer if you don't want to, because it might be
Well,
self-incriminating
I
and you
will
might,
answer, but I'll give it a shot. Go ahead.
right? I don't want to get you in trouble at home. Is there something in your house that you've been meaning to fix for a while and it has been left undone?
Yeah. So it's an easy one to self-incriminate. I am the traditional, even though I'm an attorney and I don't work with my tools. I haven't worked with my tools for years. When I was young, I did. And I think one of the stereotypes of contractors is they may be great at delivering on client needs, but they neglect their home needs. And I totally fit into that mold. Um, yeah, I think of, yeah, frankly, candidly, there's punch list work on a house that was purchased and built, designed it myself and built it with contractors. I did a decent amount of the trades when we were getting close to move-in, and there's still punch list work that exists from the original build. So how's that for self-incrimination?
The brutal honesty is appreciated.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's but that's an old cliche, yeah. The cobbler's children have no shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it
Yeah,
goes.
I don't know how you are with your family, but I've talked to my kids a lot about that. It's like if I had to like, sort of catalog my life up to this point, there's so many things that I didn't do that, I should have done. Things that should have been planned that weren't planned. Um, you know, Challenges at work that I should have, more aggressively handled. It's like the overall book of it all has gone really well. And I think, I'm again swimmingly well. But, yeah, I think that's if it were the other way around, that there were issues that our clients were left hanging with, that would be criminal. But if I got to absorb some of that, like I said, in total, I may have punch list work still outstanding, but we've picked up all these other things that have made it all very meaningful and worthwhile. But that's a personal thing too, right? I know some people who are much more exacting to knock things out. They're too My to-do list is like this, and I just keep adding, and I try to take off as much as I keep adding. That's the kind of like how my life is. It resonates a little bit, or
Oh boy. Yeah. But I don't think you and I are unusual in that.
okay.
I think we belong to a very large tribe of people who live that same situation. So
Yeah,
uh d-
life is more like a work of art, right? It's like a big collage. It's a work of art. So not everything's going to be perfect. That's Piece of art isn't perfect.
that's
But
the
anyway,
adventure.
yeah.
And you need to find a mate that agrees with you on those things.
Small details. Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise it could be a conversation.
Uh-huh.
Dan, next question. What is a question that you wish that people would ask you more often?
Well, my knee-jerk reaction is a general statement that when somebody asks you how you're doing, right? That initial and introductory conversation, that I wish in general people would take the time to make it a more genuine introduction and not just sort of, a nicety to get to what you're there to get to. Um, to me, like, right, one of the true gifts of life is to connect with people. So that's, I would say it's a mutual effort to be more genuine and open when you first meet people.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's true, and I think Americans fall into the easy question of, so what do you do in an attempt to get to know somebody when that's not really always the best definition of who we are.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, I've had this conversation a lot with close people to me is like as we get older, our time, the runway is shorter. Um, I've had people, I know close to me pass, so maybe I'm a little more sensitive to it, to the runway, but time is really valuable, and it's disheartening to me, um, the level of superficiality in a lot of dialogue. I'm one of those people, like you can ask me whatever. I know we're in a public forum of sorts here, but I just believe the only way you get to know people is to risk revealing yourself and do it in a graceful, respectful way as best you can. When you find that mutuality, that's kind of the gold standard of conversation. If you can find people who share the same goal, it's that can be a beautiful thing. But how rare is that? I mean, how rare is that to be able to talk politics or not even to get away from people and just talk issues. It's tough for a lot of people. I recognize it's tough for, I would say, the vast majority of people, right? To be able to talk openly with that level of respect and grace, where you may not be able to have the understanding or appreciation for that other point of view. It's I really, I would say 95% of the people fall short in that ability to truly engage in subject matter that can be sensitive, which is a lot of subject matter, and walk away. I don't know. Have you found differently in your?
No, but I've lived in lots of different places, lots of different cultures, and so it varies. But I think you're right. That is where the good stuff is, that the true connectivity. Agree, disagree, but do it respectfully and with tolerance and understanding. And those are the best kinds of conversations.
The best. It's how you grow too. Because I like, again, at my age, I think I know a decent amount, but right, there's a lot that I realize I don't know. But if you can get in those conversations to truly sort of test what you're thinking, with another person or persons, like, yeah, that's good stuff.
That
Yeah.
is the good stuff. Dan, if
Yes.
your life were a novel, under what genre would it be shelved?
I have answers. I can think of answers to most things, but um, I don't think it's noteworthy enough. Yeah, I wouldn't put there's no, it's not worth a book. I
No.
think, the book I'm trying to, where I'd like to be remembered is by my children, particularly, and the people I've worked with that, you know, I forget what Lincoln said, something to the effect that, may it be said that whatever, I forget the quote. Basically, maybe you remember it. It was something like, to be remembered as somebody who tried to add value to whatever he or she was engaged in, and do it honorably. But as far as genre, um, I would not be in a movie. Although I thought about this though. I've been on construction projects, particularly in New York City, that have really encompassed everything. I've always thought that, like, you could make a real. Maybe there are some out there that I can't think of, or I'm not aware of, but like, so much happens on a construction project. You have so many, I'll say, elements of society, of people. Is construction projects, right, go from the undocumented worker to the wealthy owner or governmental entity, everything in between, and they all have lives, they all have families, and all have issues, and then the projects, there are a ton of stakeholders. Yeah, you're making me think of a lot of things. But anyway, next question, Natalie. Next one. What?
Well,
I did a
I will
terrible
say
job on that one. I'm sorry.
you did not. If your life were written as a novel and I were the librarian, I would file your novel under inspiration.
Yeah. When my
There you go.
kids see this, they're going to get a kick out of it. How about you? Where would your life be?
My life would be it would be right next to an Irma Bombeck book
Okay.
about that. I think life is fun. I think it's funny. I like the stories. I like the adventures. I like finding joy and happiness and comedy in the mundane. Um, I I happen to think it's really funny when I fall off the edge of the bed trying to put my pajama pants on. I think life is built on a million small, joyful things all day, every day, and recognizing them and giving them credit. So yeah, my book would be over next to Irma Bombeck.
That's really interesting. And I don't know if you journal. I've been journaling since high school. I've been journaling. Sometimes, more frequently than others. But at this stage of my life, spreading love every day is definitely in my to-do list every day. And maybe that's kind of what you're saying right there. Just sharing that with other people, right? I mean, if you just keep it all amongst, to yourself, that's great. But to share it with other people is awesome.
It's fun. And you know what? I actually, I kind of journal in a way. So there are three tasks on my calendar, Monday through Sunday.
Okay.
And first thing in the morning, I have a little reminder that pops up that says connect with a friend in the EU, where I am. And late in the afternoon, about 5:30, a little reminder comes up that says connect with someone, a friend or a family in the United States. And then about 30 minutes later, I have a little task reminder that comes up that says connect with a colleague, so that I am actively reminded to reach out and check on people, see how they are, share funny stories, send a picture, whatever it is, because I think
And
that
you do that every day. You do that every day, pretty
every day,
much.
Monday through Sunday, yep, three
That's
times a day,
awesome.
I
That's
actively
awesome.
keep those
Wow.
relationships healthy and happy. It's got to be intentional or it doesn't count. So,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah. Dan, let me ask you the same question that I ask everybody on the Idle Chat series as the last question.
Are we
And
done? It's already over?
it, do you want me to ask you more questions?
I feel like we just got started. Um, where do where do you see early dispute resolution going in the next 10, 15 years? Do you see it becoming more prevalent and focused on or less? Or do you have a different take on it altogether? Because
No,
I think, God, I'm sorry.
no, finish your question, please.
No, I say like right, having been in the industry my whole life, I've seen the evolution, like litigation, and then all of this ADR in so many different ways, and this effort to build, the best mousetrap that's going to save money, save time, preserve relationships. Um, from your vantage point in the industry, where do you see it going? That's kind of where I was going with the question. Where do you see it going?
I see globally that early dispute resolution, dispute review boards, those kinds of facilitative processes that are proactive rather than reactive are becoming more and more known and sought after and valued. And I see arbitration still being contractually obligated, but there is less and less fanfare for that particular process because it has, over the decades that I've been involved in the resolution industry, it has become much more a mini trial than actual resolution, the way that a neutral, a facilitator, dispute review board member would see it. So
Huh?
globally, I think that more and more often businesses, municipalities, taxpayers appreciate the value of not letting things become a conflict that we have to respond to. They're tired of that. Uh, Everybody is. It's expensive, it's time consumptive, and when it becomes a judicial event, we check out. So I see more and more often the idea that early dispute resolution, facilitation, communication, negotiation, recommendations by a DRB panel, those things are really taking off. But I also see another really lovely trend globally, and that is more and more schools at the primary and middle school level teaching children basic communication and dispute resolution communication skills. And that's, I think, one of the most endearing trends that I've been able to watch, because if you can teach someone those skills when they're young, that's something they'll use in every situation with every person, every entity they encounter for the rest of their life. So that's a trend that I really like.
Nice. And connected to what you said earlier, do you see more and more of that being able to be facilitated in a forum like this?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I'm an elder Gen Xer. So my generation, your generation, we straddle from in-person meetings all the way up to fax machines, the internet, and AI. And so you and I are in a really nice spot to be able to communicate with Gen Z and the boomers comfortably. And so it is incumbent on us, though, to help young people who are not familiar with the face to face, who are not comfortable with the boardroom tables, to have that skill set so that they can function at that higher level and not always rely on a screen or an AI prompt to help them through. So,
Amen. Amen.
so Dan, tell me a
Yes,
little bit
Natalie.
about what you, I'll let you pick and choose. What do you love most about the work that you do as a neutral? What do you find to be motivational or inspirational, efficient, effective? What really drives your passion to do the work that you do?
Where again, the where I've nestled in the industry, having started out as a general contractor in New York City, then litigated full time in construction, and then had really an organic ramp off, but a very grateful opportunity to get into owner's rep work. Um, we have a Fidavia is a like 40-ish member firm, so we're a small boutique firm that does owner's rep work, and we really dwell heavily exclusively in the world of dispute prevention. That's really where we like to live. If you really understand construction and you understand construction law and you're committed to EDR, um, the real moral high ground is right preventing the disputes in the first place. And if you understand how, as a as a litigator or as a constructor, how things can fall apart and all the effort that goes into trying to meet it all out, sort it out, and resolve it honorably, like, and then the time and energy that that takes, and the relationships that are at stake a lot of times with disputes, all the effort should be, how we live as a firm in preventing the disputes in the first place, and whatever it takes to honorably serve. And when you do it selflessly, of course, you represent a client. At the end of the day, day one, at the end of the day, you have a client to serve and serve zealously, faithfully. But, you know, year after year, we've been doing this now as Fidavia is 23 years. And if you can do it in a way and build a reputation of respect in the industry, and people know that that you're not going to address things dishonorably. You're going to do it fairly. You're not going to take what's not yours. But yeah, that's we've been in business now for 23 years. So actually, last Thursday, and we've had, and we do a lot of work. Like, again, from our small world, billions of in construction over the last 23 years, and we have like no claims on our jobs, and it's not accident. It's commitment, and all this like good faith stuff we're talking about grace and respect and commitment. That's all it is. You just have to say the course. What a what a long-winded answer to what should have been a simple answered question. But yeah, I love what I
There's
do. That's why I'll do it forever, because I'm do I just we're in a good spot. Yeah. Life is
yeah,
good. And we all need to keep spreading love. I'm gonna follow your you're gonna take that advice to make a purposeful connection. Maybe, some my version of your three. And I assume you adjusted the time of day based on that Europe is ahead time wise. So people are still, yeah, yeah. That was really nice, Natalie. And thanks for this opportunity to talk. I appreciate it.
well, it's my pleasure. First, happy anniversary. That's
Thank you.
a 23 years is a nice milestone.
Thank
And
you.
next, if somebody wanted to reach out to you and learn more about the work that you do or that your firm does, or maybe just ask a question about, what are the possibilities? What's the best way for someone to find you?
Yeah, we do a lot of, we want to, we're doing more and more volunteer work as we continue on. So happy to share ideas via sounding board, that's what you do with friends. But Fidevia, Fidevia. We have a website, there's contacts through there. That's the easiest way. Um, from there, we have an office with people, and we're easy to find. So yeah. Thank
Very
you,
well.
Natalie. This has been
You're
pleasant.
it has been joyful for me as well. Dan, thank you so much. I know that your time is short and valuable, and I
As is
really
yours.
But I really appreciate and respect that you've spent your time with me in an idle chat. It's been lovely.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right, sir, that is your idle chat.